You're watching Oilers Nation every day with Tyler Ennis. Your one-stop shop for all things Oilers.
I'm doing my best Stan Bowman, doing nothing. Hello, let's get into it with the lead. Liam, I will say, these Tim Hortons roll up the rim coffees every day. It's been a great addition to our show.
I got one too.
Oh, we've doubled up our channel. We've been rolling the rim live on the air every day this for the last week.
Nice.
It's been a lot of fun. 0 for
Where's
3.
my coffee?
Where was our invite to Paris?
I didn't need one.
Welcome into Oilers Nation every day. The show is a presentation of Bet365. Download the app today. Use the promo code NATION. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. The show comes to you live from the Sports Closet studio. You can check them out online at sportscloset.ca. Trent Frederick jersey, anybody?
Number 21.
Number 21.
You think we resign him?
He said today in his press conference, so there's two things to this, the big reason why I think he might. His brother loves the Oilers. His brother told him to come to Edmonton. He's like, that is your best chance to win. And he keeps referencing this, that how much his brother loves the Oilers.
Love his brother.
His brother is DJ Bean.
Love DJ Bean.
I think his brother played at Miami, Ohio University for a few years. Like I don't know, I think Grant Frederick, I think. And also he said
his name is Grant. That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he came out and he said, I am very open to like negotiating and figuring things out. Ooh. He's like open-minded, I guess, more than open to Edmonton.
So
okay.
How does Trent Frederick become an Edmonton Oiler if Stan Bowman's doing nothing?
Yeah, I thought that was a harsh lead.
No, I'm just getting impatient. I'm seeing Vegas make moves.
What did Vegas do?
They just got Riley Smith.
Back.
Yeah.
Riley Smith's back for Brendan Brisson in a third-round pick.
Yanni Gourde to Tampa. Who are the Oilers getting? Who's a former Oilers currently available?
Tyson Barrie.
Damn.
Also,
Kesselring.
So Frank tweeted about 7 minutes ago that don't be surprised to see a team put a player on waivers today in order to set up another move they plan on making soon. The Leafs just put Ryan Reeves on waivers.
Ooh.
Good call. That guy sucks.
And before anyone even says it, not a chance in hell.
No.
But Trent Frederick is the new version of Ryan Reeves.
Yeah.
I'm way better. So they're going to have some dead cap on Ryan Reeves.
A little bit, yeah.
Like 1.65. Isn't his contract?
He's 1.35.
That's his contract?
Yeah, so he'll have $250K dead cap space.
Oh, well, I was way off. Well, that sucks for them. Do you think they're panicking now after what Tampa Bay did and Florida have been busy?
Shen?
I mean, how could you not? Which Shen? Braden?
Yeah.
Oh my God, no, that'd be. Apparently, the Blues want 3 equivalent first-round picks for him.
Hey, I know the acquisition price is not good. I'm just saying we should get him.
He's not good anymore, so I think that's one of the.
I know the price is too high, but we should get him.
Nashville claims Osterley. Nashville claims Varana. Columbus claims Fisher. No one claims Puljujarvi.
But this is part of him signing with
Florida.
Yeah, he had to go through.
Someone still could have claimed him.
But doesn't he? Oh, whatever. There's so much to talk about.
Osterley's
doesn't
not
he make
bad.
guys in his line better? Anyways.
What league?
Hey, those same people
where were all you guys when this was happening?
What was happening?
Where were you?
He was an Oiler. I was always critical of Puljujarvi.
He had that great run. I can't remember the start of what season it was, like 13 goals or whatever.
And we were doing Oilers Nation radio, and I remember our question was, would you sign him to a 6x6 right now? And it was like, he'd probably say no.
Well, he got injured. He got injured right around Christmas against the Ducks. I remember being at the game. He was doing unreal, and then he just fell off a cliff. Too bad.
YouTube chat brought to you by our friends at Odd Company Brewing and Nation Beer Everyday Lager. You can find it at one of their 2 locations in Edmonton or by going to liquorconnect.com, punching in Nation Beer, and finding the liquor store nearest you. In the chat, Original Posar dropped in a super chat. Always love when OP's watching a show live. That's fun. He says the Cam Dineen and Max Jones era begins tonight. In all seriousness, while I don't expect Mac Jones in the healthy playoff lineup, adding Kane, Frederick, and Jones certainly changes the dynamic. So it is a Sherwood Ford Giant game day, and we do have a little bit to talk about because the Oilers' blue line, oh boy, is it ever banged up.
What year is this again? It feels like this blue line, like the Cam Dineen and Max Jones. Does Max Jones not just give you absolute Matt Fraser vibes.
Yeah.
Just the name and like former Bruin. I don't know, it just kind of rubs me like that. But I think Max Jones will probably have a bit more impact than what Matt Fraser will have. But yeah, the blue line is not ideal tonight, to say the least. The knee in for, and Troy Stetcher, I would guess too, for Ekholm and Klingberg. Ekholm needs to go out. He's just not himself. Like, he needs to sit out. I'd sit him out till whatever the game is out. Oh, that's an idea. We're talking about Evander Kane. What if we just did it to Ekholm?
It's honestly not even a terrible idea because he hasn't been good because of this illness or whatever's been.
Which has been like a month.
I know, but that's also that's the concerning part here. It's like, okay, if you're gonna shut him down, maybe you do need to like seriously shut him down. But there are some changes tonight. Max Jones gonna come in. Jeff Skinner, I should say, still can't get a game in. Back-to-back games where he'll be healthy scratch.
Too deep.
Yeah, the Oilers. The Oilers are too deep.
Put him in net.
Ekholm and Klingberg both out of the lineup tonight, which means, again, Cam Dineen is going to draw in. So, hey, maybe the Bukestad and Dineen for Kesselring trade isn't all that bad. I'm not willing to say we've lost it.
I am.
Still some life on that one. Dineen is 26 years old. Last played in the NHL in 2021-22 season. 34 games for the Coyotes. 7 points. Only minus 16.
Only minus 16, hey? 4 games. Things are happening very, very quickly. Tyler Pitlick is on waivers. Riley Stillman.
That's our guy.
Well,
Tampa gets Gaudreau.
We get Pitlick.
We get Pitlick. I liked him.
Okay, this actually kind of ties in, Liam, to, and we're crossing a lot of things off our list early on in this show. But I want to get to one big take for our friends at Service Credit Union. The Service Big Share Contest is back, and it's your chance to win $1 million just by saving money. If you want to find out more information, you can go to service.ca/win. Every $500 saved gets you 5 entries into the Service Big Share Contest. Once again, check them out, service.ca/win. Start saving, and you could win big. My big take for today, and buckle up for the next 24 hours, everybody. This is a seller's market because some of the prices that are being paid, I am all of a sudden wildly okay with the Trent Frederic price. I was mildly uncomfortable at first, but now I've totally flipped because Riley Smith, a pending UFA with 10 goals on the season, who is 33 years old and is about as one-dimensional as they come, is going for Brendan Brisson, a guy who was a first-round pick in 2020 and a third-round pick. That, like, Riley Smith should be going for a 4th-round pick in most years.
Retention, right? He's
50% retained.
50% retained.
So the Rangers are going to keep 50% of that deal.
But he's a UFA.
He's a UFA. Brian Dumoulin, Liam, we were speculating yesterday. It's like, man, would you give up a 3rd for him? And it's like, nah, that's a little bit rich, I think. He ends up going for a 2nd-rounder today.
Yeah.
Like, I think you might see over the next 24 hours here, and the market's obviously developing really, really late. I think you are going to see some teams start to throw out names to guys that they weren't planning on selling before just to see what they might get them. Because, again, I think it is a massive, massive seller's market right now.
When you have a log jam and tight playoff races, this is what you get. You have more buyers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the price is going to go up.
Guys.
Not Herner.
Demand is high.
Demand is extremely high.
Supply is low.
And that player that the Ducks got as well isn't like, he's not a superstar by any means, but he was on Sweden's World Junior team, which is significant, of course. Like the Brian Dumoulin thing, I actually misspoke yesterday when we were doing the mock trade. It was the Ilya Labushkin trade I was comparing to, not the Joel Edmondson one. That was when they got 75% retained on it. But yeah, I'm happy the Oilers didn't spend a 2nd-round pick on Brian Dumoulin. He's a good player. I actually think he would have helped them.
He's a fine player, yeah.
Yeah, he's good. He'd do a job for you.
We just talked about how our D-line is brutal.
Yeah, but 2nd-round pick for, like, for example, last year, Zadorov went for a 4th.
Like, that's crazy.
Okay.
And
do you want to win now, or do you want others to win?
Jay, that's not the conversation we're having right now. The conversation we're having right now is that prices are very high.
Okay. So then you pay the price if you're going all in. Or not.
I agree.
That's
so
the thing.
I would pay the price for Jamie Alexiak. I wouldn't pay that price for Brian Dumoulin.
Well, that's exactly what I wanted to kind of get to next.
Now pushes up the price of Alexiak
Which
if
I
you're
think
viewing him as a greater player than Dumoulin.
But if you gave me the choice between giving up a 2nd-rounder, because the Oilers only have really 26 picks they can choose from. If you gave me the choice between would you trade a 2nd-rounder for Brian Dumoulin or a 1st-rounder for Jamie Alexiak, I'm paying up.
First round for Alexiak, and then whatever the prospect is they want to.
Well, I mean, do you think you need to attach a prospect to that?
Definitely.
How high are you going?
Well, New Jersey just traded a second and a guy who just played at the World Juniors.
So you're trading your first in Boakey to get Jamie
No, not
Alexiak?
going that high.
Well, we're talking World Junior level player.
But Boakey's your best defensive prospect. What's his name? Hernan Traff is not New Jersey's best forward prospect.
Yeah. Okay.
A first-round pick, and
I don't know who you give up then.
you could find someone like maybe one of those Russian prospects.
Luka Munzenberger?
Hey, maybe.
Yeah, I know people love him, but like again, you have to give to get here at some point. I'm just saying, like, I didn't love the Frederick deal when it first went down. I felt like it was an asset too much. Whether it's the fourth or Warner, whatever asset you want to point to, I felt like they gave up one too much. Now I'm sitting here being like, nope, they actually might have gotten a really good deal on one of the better rental players on the market because again, Max Warner is not as valuable as Brendan Brisson.
Certainly not.
Second round pick. More valuable than the third rounder that Vegas gave up, but like Trent Frederick is a miles more effective player than Riley Smith, and the Oilers paid a pretty similar price and got him twice retained, and got Max Jones, a depth guy who's going to play tonight.
What did you make of this trade, Jay? You were away.
I was away, but it had me doing cartwheels down the Champs-Elysees, if you will.
That would have been a sight to see.
Well, there's a lot of sights walking there. I've been the least of, wouldn't even have cracked the top 10. But, yeah, okay. How many fourth-rounders pan out? How many second-rounders pan out? Max Warner, albeit a former Moose Jaw Warrior, and I'll love you forever. Where is he? Shane LeChance is like the only kind of one that we always kind of hear a little bit about. So
I wasn't going to sign here.
Okay, so then what did we actually give up?
And that's the other part of it, too. Like, you say the two names, and we spoke about this when the trade happened. Warner, you turned a seventh-round pick in Warner and a sixth-round pick in LeChance into someone who can impact your roster today.
So
I don't think they overpaid at all. I think it's a really good trade.
This is a crazy good deal.
Yeah, and I think Warner at the start of the season, I don't think he would have been involved in this trade if he was able to continue.
And hurt development maybe stunted a little bit.
Yeah, like a tough year for him. Only 2 points in whatever it is, 25 games, maybe a couple less. Like, I think the fan base is probably a little higher on him, and obviously, like we joked about it off the top, there's the worry that he turns into a Kessel Ring. I don't think he's quite at that level.
Is he a Maximus or a Maximilian?
Maximus.
That's big shoes to fill, man. That's audacious to go that full with the Max on your son.
We just got a Max back, not a Maximus. So it's
so I kind of like that. Kind of like Max Light.
Max.
Here's one from Ryan Rashog. My understanding is Kane hasn't put back-to-back days of intense workouts together, Evander that is, and as the deadline draws near, it's perhaps becoming more apparent that a return at playoff time is more likely. With that said, they'll be careful here, but my sense is we could see them with more space to work with than previously thought.
I don't even know why this little saga happened.
Because of Evander Kane.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But why?
Because of Evander Kane.
Yeah.
I know. Like, it's so dumb.
Yeah.
It is dumb.
You want your best chance to win a cup? You want to blow that up by wanting to play like 2 regular season games? Like, we need all that space. All the chips pushed in.
So
Evander Kane, we want you in the playoffs. 100%. You and Frederick are going to hurt the other team.
And Podkolzin, I think, is going to be able to take another step to like try and increase his intensity with those two guys. He's going to have no choice if he wants to stay in the lineup. The other layer with Evander Kane is if he comes back, I think it's like the first week of April, he can go to Bakersfield for 2 weeks.
He has to agree to it, though.
He has to agree, but I'm pretty sure they play in Abbotsford.
So you could fly him
so
to
he's
Abbey
just
and
going
say,
to
"Go play a
Abbotsford.
game."
He's not. It doesn't have to go all the way down.
2 weeks, but that doesn't mean
That's a conditioning stint. And the playoffs, the Oilers' last game is like the 14th or the 13th of April, something like that. So if April, first week of
you
April.
activate him, though, when he goes in a conditioning stint, it's still considered under LTR. Oh, then come on.
Yeah, I agree. Let me double check where they play, but I'm sure it's Abbotsford.
Yeah, that's the move. That's the move. Like, the fact that there was this saga going on, I'm like, this is so dumb.
I do wonder if they do have the LTIR space, then the Oilers aren't in a position where you would need to get a team to come in and be like a third-party broker at that point. You could, at this point, with their current cap space and the fact you'd send someone down to acquire someone.
Just breaking news.
Okay. the fact you'd have to send someone down to then add, let's say, Alexiak, whoever it is, you're going to have around 4.7, 4.5 million. So whatever defenseman you want to get, you could bring on full board without having to get a third team. I wonder if this doesn't actually give the Oilers the ability to be a bit more patient. Again, prices are sky high. Stand firm on what you want to give up, but you could sit there, and if there is a Alexiak, a Mario Ferraro, there's a handful of other defensemen who have some amount of term or team control on them. You might be able to sit there if you're Edmonton and go, you know what, we like 3 or 4 of these guys. Let's let teams jump the gun and pay big prices. And with an hour to go to the deadline, if there's 2 of them left, we'll go with our first-round pick and say this is going to be your best offer because it's the final hour.
Provided that the player you want didn't get or become unavailable.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You have to be.
Do not lose if you've got the players that you've got mapped out. Like these are the guys we want.
But that's what I mean. If you have 4 of them that you like, you can sit there and kind of say, like, you know what, 1 or 2 of them is probably going to hang around for another few hours. I think they can play the market a bit.
They're the lower player, like.
Not necessarily.
Let's get our guys.
How much of a difference do you think there is between going and getting Mario Ferraro or Jamie Alexiak? I actually view them as both being equally as impactful.
Well, one's a giant and one isn't.
Yeah, but Mario Ferraro is a dog.
Then perfect. I like it. But we're talking about difference, right? Who's got more dog fat? Is Ferraro more of a dog than Alexiak? I'll take the dog.
I mean, like, listen, Mario Ferraro's not 6'7", but
that's fine. But if he's got the motor on him,
yeah.
How isn't he like 6'3" though?
It's not 6'7" though, man.
No, it's certainly not. He is 6 foot. That is a huge difference.
Yeah, he's undersized, but he's a pit bull. Like, he's scrappy.
Yeah,
I'm fine with that. I'm not saying who I would choose as the top one in this, but you should go through that exercise of like, if these are the 2 available, we rank this guy at 1 and this guy at 2.
Yeah.
The other thing with Ferraro, which is interesting, is obviously he plays top minutes for San Jose. He's the top line defenseman. Like, you could slide him in on your third pairing and bump Kulak up. And then, like, he maybe becomes an even better player than you expect because his competition is so much less than it was prior, right? Also, I misspoke a little bit. They do play Abbotsford, but it's at home. But then they're on the road in Tucson for a couple of games.
Vander loves Arizona.
Can confirm.
Okay, he's here, yeah. All right, well, let's get out. We do have a guest today on the show, Star Mechanical Guest Line, Edmonton's #1 plumbing and heating company. You can find out more by visiting them online at starmechanical.ca, whether it's residential, commercial, 24/7 emergency service. They do it all. They do it well, and they've been doing it in the Edmonton area for more than 20 years. One of the city's longest locally owned and largest locally owned company, Star Mechanical, starmechanical.ca. It's been a couple months since we had a chance to catch up with our friend Tyler Ennis, who's living a life of luxury out in Europe. Where are you now?
I'm still in France. I'm in France right now.
Okay. Last time we talked, it was like, hey, it's kind of tough to keep up with like the sporting calendar with the time difference. I want to ask, were you setting the alarm bright and early for any of those 4 Nations games?
I was, especially obviously Canada, United States. The other games I wasn't as interested in, but it's funny, like even in France, and I'm in the south of France, so hockey is not a big sport down here. The Canada-US, both games, especially the fights in the first 10 seconds was talked about quite a bit over here, even just in conversation. A lot of people in the street, oh, that's crazy. It was, they were watching it. They loved it. So it's nice to see, hockey in places that you don't expect. And the 4 Nations was an amazing tournament, and it showed with how many people watched it.
Yeah. Liam, ask a question.
All right. Oh my God, you really threw me off that, Tyler. Obviously, the trade deadline's coming up. You were traded to Edmonton right around the deadline. Scored in your first game. Was it against the Ducks, if I'm not mistaken, against the Ducks? Yeah. How long was it? Because I feel like when trades are made, obviously, everyone expects an immediate impact. But how long did it take for you to feel like you were comfortable on the team and be like, okay, like now I'm in a bit of a rhythm and I can get going a bit here?
For me, first of all, how's my Wi-Fi? Because for me, Beautiful. It's a little glitchy. It's okay for you guys? Okay, good. For me, it was. It didn't take that long. Probably because I was older. I wasn't as nervous. I was just very excited. I was so happy to be on the Oilers. I was so happy to be playing with, a couple of the best players in the world, and just so excited to be on a team that was, striving to win a cup. Um, it, I think the trade deadline, especially, I mean, it's also why I'm excited to be on talking about it, is because the deadline is such a unique part of the season, and it is such an important part of the season, and it is hard to get right. Um, it's difficult to decide if you're a GM, who to add, how to add. Do you leave it the same? What's the perfect mix? Um, you're even seeing it with Rantanen right now in Carolina. It's not really working perfectly, and he's an amazing player. So it's hard to get it right. Um, on my end, I was never obviously a super impactful ad, but I was another piece, and it wasn't crazy hard for me to get into the lineup chemistry wise or anything like that. But it can be difficult for certain pieces.
Yeah, then I'm maybe a little bit curious about the Oilers and their struggles right now. Like, things are not going well for this team. How much of a, I don't know about distraction, if that's the right word, how much of a conversation do you think the looming trade deadline is? Like, do you think this is maybe a team that just needs to get through Friday, and then as a veteran group, they can kind of all exhale and be like, all right, let's get back to playing our brand of hockey?
I don't know. If I'm on the Oilers right now, I'm probably thinking that we need to make some moves in some aspect. Um, I haven't been there in a few years, of course. They went on an unbelievable run last year, and they know within that room that they can get back there. But from what I see, is I think that they need to make some changes. Um, so I don't know what the feeling like is in the room, and if things are being talked about. Probably, not as much as we think, but um, I would I would expect that the team would think that something would potentially happen.
One of the big stories that's been floating around this team is the goaltending. It really hasn't gotten right all season. I mean, last year started slow, then Skinner got red hot for a stretch leading into the playoffs. This year, we haven't gotten that heater. And I guess where I want to go with this is, like, does it deflate you at all when the goaltending stays this poor, or is it like a rallying point? Because we've heard some guys now. Corey Perry said it after the loss to Anaheim, where he said, every mistake we make ends up in the back of our net. Like, do you think there'd be any, and I guess if you've been on a team with a struggling goalie before, is it frustration, or is it like a rallying point? Is it like, we need to play better for this guy to pick him up, or is it like, holy shit, we need a save?
I don't know. For my history in the playoffs and being on good teams, I usually had great goaltending. I had Ryan Miller, who was the big reason why we were in playoffs to begin with. So goaltending was not an issue there. Goaltending for me in the past was never a burden in important situations, I don't think. But I would think that it could get frustrating if it happens continuously, and maybe it's an area that they do pursue a move. What do you guys think? Do you think that they will make a move in that position or no?
I mean, it's been story numero uno for 2 months now, it feels like.
October
But
11th.
I don't see one. I think you can look at what Stuart Skinner did for stretches last year, the fact he's 26. John Gibson's hurt again. Like, you can talk about his numbers. The guy can't stay healthy for more than 8 or 9 straight starts. Jordan Binnington, doubt he's available. Everyone else is Dan Vladar or Peter Mrazek. Like, I don't think there's a guy out there. I think for the Oilers, it's a little bit of like, dance with the one that brought you. You've made your bed.
I agree. I agree with you. I think that if you had to rate the necessities, I would say that it's probably easier to win with uh, average goaltending than bad, not as good
Yeah.
defense, like a top, like the 6D. So if I'm the Oilers, I would upgrade other areas before the goaltending probably. Um, I think probably on the back end, if they can improve the back end, and then they probably need to figure out the chemistry up front. But I think that they can win with the forwards. It's probably the least uh, the least area that they need to improve. Of course, I would probably try to upgrade the D before the goaltending.
I feel
That's
like
my
we
take.
asked you this question earlier in the year as well, but again, it's another thing that stayed a storyline. You obviously played with Leon Draisaitl a little bit, so you can give us some insight into this. And AB, maybe if you want to flash up the lines, they just acquired Trent Frederick, but it's been a story
Yeah.
all year that Podkolzin, plays good but can't score. Victor Arvidsson can't really score. Jeff Skinner can't stay in the lineup. Like, they've struggled to find. I mean, Kasperi Kapanen got a decent run with him for a little bit. That's how desperate it got. When you look at this group of players, and let's keep Trent Frederick in mind as well as a big body that can score, what are the ideal line mates for Leon Draisaitl?
When I look at it, I would probably try to give him one of Nuge or Hyman. I would try to do one of those, and then Connor with one of those two is dominant enough to make anyone else on that line effective and be effective in my eye. So if you don't make a move for another forward, which probably won't happen, they got Frederick. I would try to give Leon one of Nuge or Himes.
Give him Nuge Hyman, and then, again, I'm big on the idea of Trent Frederick next to him. I think Leon, and I mean, this goes back to when Kyler Yamamoto had some run of success with him. It's like someone who can get in there, forecheck, force turnovers. I think that's the kind of guy that works really, really well with Leon, and I mean, he's probably, he has been productive all year no matter who they put on his wing, but the idea of a really big body in Trent Frederick, and maybe it is with, a guy who's a little bit more cerebral in a Ryan Nugent-Hopkins on the other side, but I really like the idea of a big body who can crash and bang a little bit next to Leon.
I agree with the Yamo comparison. Yamo was super effective with Leon because he got in there, he got pucks back, he was tenacious. That's what I expected out of Arvidsson. But I think what Leon also needs is someone that can finish. Like he creates so much offense for these guys, and I'm part of the history of that. I played with Leon, and I'm well aware of how many amazing chances he gave me and how many I didn't finish. So I know that he can play well with players that aren't stars. But I do think that he creates so much that he just needs a guy that can finish more than what he's been given over the last few years. So that's why I'm saying give him a Nuge or give him a Himes. Trent Frederick, I don't know a ton about. I know he had almost 20 goals last year, and this year he hasn't done as much. I think he's super tough, and I'm very pro tough in playoffs if you can play. That said, I'm on the anti, like Ryan Reeves in the lineup. If you're tough and you can't play, I'm not on that team. But Sam Bennett is really tough and he's super effective. Obviously, he's one of the best players in the world who was on the Four Nations. But in playoff time, he's tough and he plays. Trent Frederick, I don't know enough about. If he's tough and can play well, that's an amazing pickup, obviously. I don't know where he's going to suit in. He'll probably get a chance with probably a few different lines. But I would try to give Leon one of those two guys. I would give him Nuge. That's what I would do.
I guess the last one for me is a similar question, but on the blue line. I think you nailed it. They're going to go at a defenseman at some point here in the next, 24 and a half hours away from the trade deadline. Jamie Alexiak, 6'7", out in Seattle. He's got some talk behind him. Carson Soucy in Vancouver, who's a good Alberta boy. Again, bigger body. But then there's the option of, smaller guys. Mario Ferraro, a bit more proficient in the puck-moving department side of things. I mean, you would have seen Darnell Nurse play with Tyson Barrie, someone who was more of a puck mover, someone like Cody Ceci, who played a simpler brand of hockey. Is there an archetype of defenseman that you think could unlock the best out of Darnell Nurse?
That's a good question. I would say probably a combination of everything. So someone that can move the puck, someone that can skate. They don't have to be amazing at everything, but just to let Darnell focus on being strong and simple. That the guys that you mentioned, Oleksiak, in my eye, would be a great pickup. He makes a lot of money, though, I think. So I don't know how you make some of these things work. But Oleksiak would be a good pickup. Ferraro, the same thing. He seems like a guy that's very tenacious, blocks a ton of shots, will do whatever it takes to win. I think you probably need a righty, though, if you're going to put one with Darnell. So I don't know what righties are out there, but I would look to maybe add a righty.
The only righty's Rasmus Ristolainen.
But he could be okay. But I think he also makes a lot of money. Is that true?
A few years too.
So I think it's tough. I think they may have to get more creative. They might have to get more creative than just the guys that are available in front of our face right now. I don't know. I think that they do need to make some improvements, though. I think they need to make some moves. In the playoffs, when I look at the Oilers' trajectory right now, the projection, I think Savoy is great too because he's going to add speed. I think what they need to do is replace some of the speed that they lost. So if Savoy can come in with that young energy and be in the playoffs with a ton of speed, I think that could replace some of the speed loss with McLeod and with Holloway. They're going to need something like that. They're going to need a speed replacement. When I look at the Frederick thing, I think it's good, but I think they do need more speed.
I mean, you never had Chris Knoblauch as a coach, obviously, so I don't know how much you can speak to this, but like we're watching Matt Savoy. He comes in and he looks good. He plays fast. He makes really smart plays with the puck. And then he plays a game, gets healthy scratched for 2, plays one more and gets sent down. And it's like, I feel like last year we did this whole thing with Dylan Holloway where it was like, man, he looks good. Yeah. They won't play him. And then he goes somewhere else, starts playing, and is a 20-goal scorer by the 60-game mark of the season. Like, it's bananas that they don't give the kids a little bit more leash, right?
I would agree because I think it's hard when you're in the moment and you're on the team and you're kind of in your space. Sometimes it can be hard to make a move like that when you do have so many veterans on the team that have played so many games. But if I look at, and maybe they're thinking like this because they're still, post trade deadline before the playoffs. But I think that it's always huge for a team that can add a little bit of youth, a little bit of that just raw energy heading into the playoffs. And I think Savoy is that. He's so fast. He's playing in Edmonton where he's from. He's going to have so much juice. Like, I would insert him in the lineup 100%. And you can put him anywhere because just that speed alone, I think, is key. And yeah, he might have been -4 or whatever, but he's young and I just think he's going to provide more juice than some other guys. So I would have him in 100%.
People are saying he looked like a young Tyler Ennis.
I don't think I ever skated that fast.
All right, Tyler, appreciate you popping on, man. Thanks for doing this, and we'll definitely chat again before the playoffs.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Good to see you again.
Yeah,
there you go.
There
you go, Tyler Ennis, former Oiler, popping on. Enough with your French, you guys. Okay, let's continue along. Sherwood Ford Giant Game Day edition of the show brought to you by, guess who? Our friends at Sherwood Ford the Giant and the Nation Valet Service. You've heard me harping on it for over a month now, and we just keep sweetening the pot. Book online, sherwoodford.ca. Say you want Nation Valet. They drive to your house or your place of work, pick up your car, drive it to the dealership, do the work, and then drive your car right on back to you. And not only are you going to get a Nation swag package, but you're going to be entered into one of our great monthly draws with Sherwood Ford the Giant. Let me ask you guys this, and then we'll get to what some of the responses were when I threw this out on Twitter. What's the biggest possible splash you could see the Oilers making here? What's the ceiling for the type of move you could see?
Do I have to name players or just an idea?
Am I allowed to be crazy or?
You
You
can't
go
say
for-
Sidney Crosby.
I actually wasn't thinking that.
Okay.
Ovechkin. No, I'm kidding. I'm going to say I think they'll try and do something similar to like the Henrique deal, not with a forward, but like, they'll get their top 4 defensemen and then they'll acquire like a depth forward to go along with it. Like I keep looking at Seattle and I keep thinking of Alexei Tanev.
But who are the to Ennis's point? Who are the ones that are not underneath our noses right now?
Well, let me read you this from Chris Johnston 16 minutes ago. While the Bruins continue to go back and forth with Brad Marchand on a possible contract extension, word is they're still open to potentially trading their captain. Teams calling the Bruins aren't being told no. So is there...
We need speed. Like,
Okay, but is there a mega deal for him and Carlo that...
I just feel like they already did that, no? Like they just traded with Boston. But then again, Florida and San Jose just made 2 trades.
Yeah, and Edmonton's done it in the past with Detroit. That year they got Athanasiou and Green and Baradziak. They made 3 trades in like 2 weeks with them.
I don't think they got Baradziak by a trade. I think he's signed. But
He's signed.
either way.
No,
you're
they
right.
they dumped him to Detroit.
Oh, yes, he was in the trade. I thought you meant
Yeah.
they got him here.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe, I suppose. That seems like a lot. There's a ton of money, obviously, going both ways. Isn't there just $10 million before retention in Marchand and Carlo?
It's a lot.
I just don't want Marchand. And I know that might sound crazy, but like what Jay said, like they need to get quicker. And he just doesn't move
you
that
saw him at
needle.
Four Nations, right? It stood out that he wasn't fast.
Big time.
And I love the gamer in him, but like we're already old and slow.
I am stunned that you are not like pounding the table for him. Actually,
Well, I love the archetype of the player, but we need speed
I agree.
a little bit. We already have enough veteran presence. Now he I guess it's what's going out the door. Like anything is possible. You could create a situation to like where I could be like, okay, it makes sense.
yeah.
But I'd be a little bit worried about the speed thing.
But like, what if Arvidsson's going out the door to make the money work, and then you're like,
then
okay,
you get even slower. Arvidsson at least brings a speed element, but Marchand is a better player than Arvidsson, don't get me wrong. But like,
Yeah,
you're just-
Marchand's got more upside than Arvidsson right now.
yeah, again, the speed thing is just something I'm really worried about with this team, and they need to get quicker. That's why I keep saying Tanev. I know he's not a perfect player by any means, but at least he brings a little bit of physicality and speed. Yeah, depth guy.
Depth guy, but we need some like skilled speed.
Yeah,
We need a bit of both.
I look at Chicago too. What can you do if Evander Kane doesn't come back? Murray and Ryan Donato, 2 impactful players. Murray's a right shot defenseman. If you get retention, I know Chicago can't do it, but maybe you figure that out some way to get a third party in. And then Donato only makes $2 million. He's been playing top 6 with Bedard all year, so maybe that's a couple of guys. Ty?
Are they the guys? Who else is right on our nose? Who else?
Rantanen's number 1 on Frank's trade target list
Well,
now.
that's what I'm saying. If we want to do something dumb,
yeah.
is you have to give a roster player back,
And
an
they just-
impactful roster player back.
I mean, Liam, you brought up Jake Wallman a handful of times.
Oh, he'd be so good.
He's a lefty that plays the right side.
And he's always played the right side. He made Murray's side of what he is today. Maybe he can play next to Bouchard and you can lower the minutes of Ekholm. Something like that, perhaps.
Yeah, he made sure maybe
He definitely helped him. That was tongue in cheek, but it's true.
I'd be
Yeah.
getting him to play with Darnell Nurse, and that's your puck mover
Yeah,
next to
that
Darryl.
works as well.
Yeah.
Or you just go absolutely nuts. You get both him and Ferraro, and you give up a whole bunch for it.
Sure,
Or change a full pairing.
that'd be amazing. Our
That
D
would
is
fill a hole.
Ekholm's obviously battling something right now.
Yeah, they would have
and
to-
he's not
yeah.
the same. Bush is not. He's playing a different sport.
He's actually been a lot better.
He's been their best
recently,
defenseman for
which
the last
has been
couple
But
games.
that's not high
crazy.
praise.
Well-
We're a tire fire team right
Well,
now.
yeah, John Klingberg sucks.
Okay, am I here with my Klingberg pom poms out right now?
No, I'm just continuing your point about how much the blue line
Yeah, the
stinks.
blue line sucks. So like a full
Yeah,
reshuffle
struggled.
of 2 impact D-man. Like we can't fix our goaltending. And I was gonna jump in on the conversation with Ennis there. We're not even getting league average goaltending, so it is an area of concern. But I also agree trying to pull off a trade in season is tough.
Yeah.
So like, why don't we make the best blue line that we can, given the chips that we have and the players that are available?
I think that's got to be the way to do it. And look, people keep talking about it in the chat, and I totally get it. Everyone wants John Gibson Binnington, whoever it may be. But none of those teams want to trade those players.
Yep.
Like, I don't think there's been, and maybe I'm wrong, there was obviously the report that Gibson said he would waive his no trade to come to Edmonton. I think Carolina was the
But
other
he
team.
only has interest in being a starter.
But also, there's not been very many reports of Anaheim being like, we want to trade him.
To Edmonton.
Just in general, right? Like, I don't feel like I've seen that. So, like, Vemelka signed yesterday. Like, a lot of these names people are throwing out there, I just don't think are available.
And I've been banging that drum for a while now, and I've been getting roasted for it. But it's like, you can yell at me all you want. The market is the market. Like,
It is what it is. Yeah.
Okay, we did do, and I wanted to run a few of these through everybody since we put it out on Twitter, some mock trades. I asked the people, what's the biggest deal you could see the Oilers making, and give me a mock deal for this. It's brought to you by our friends at Greta, our go-to party spot in downtown Edmonton, and Flight Night, which is coming next Friday. It's presented by Fountain Tire. It's all in support of the Ben Stelter Foundation. You can get your tickets today, $10 at nationgear.ca, and that $10 gets you entered into the draw to win a trip for two on the Nation Vacation. If you come to Flight Night next Friday, March 14th at Greta, there is a chance you are walking out the door with 2 tickets on the Nation Vacation to Vegas at the end of the month. It does not get any better than that. And, I mean, what's the downside here? You have a great night at Greta?
It's Friday night in Edmonton. You're going to Greta anyways. Now support the Ben Stelter Foundation and come on the Nation Vacation.
It's that easy. It's that easy. Flight Night at Greta, nationgear.ca. Get your tickets today. AB, I sent you a whole bunch of the mock deals. We'll start ripping.
I'm excited.
We'll start ripping. Some of them are pretty tame. I tried to, only pick out the realistic ones because there were a few that were like people doing the whole trade. Arvidsson, Skinner, Josh Brown, and Vasily Podkolzin for Brad Marchand. And it's like, what? Why would anyone do that?
What about bringing Colton Parayko home?
There was one about Colton Parayko that I'll get to. But again, the problem with that, it's going to be very, very hard to make the money work, first of all. Although I do wonder if we're going to see a Jeff Skinner deal in the next 24 hours. And you know who I wouldn't be surprised? The New York Rangers. I think Jeff Skinner to the Rangers makes so much sense. They just traded away on their left side. If you called the Rangers and said, give us a 6th-round pick, done deal, the Rangers could go, okay, cover for we just traded Riley Smith. Got some assets for him. Now we're going to add a player who can play on our third line and maybe score us some goals, which is all Riley Smith was doing. If you're the Oilers, you get out of it. If you're Jeff Skinner, you say, yeah, I'll waive. I'll go somewhere where I can actually play and earn another contract. And, oh, look, they're in a playoff spot. I could still get to play playoff hockey.
I think Columbus is the team.
I think Columbus would make a lot of sense for Skinner as well.
I also just don't think he'll get traded, which is he should waive his no trade.
I think that's what they're angling for
the
here.
honorable thing.
Well, the honorable thing. He's also been scratched now. This will be the 8th time he's been scratched this season, and Frederick and Kane both shoot left. Mm-hmm. It's just I just don't see the path for him, unfortunately. As much as like I am with a lot of people in the chat, is like the Oilers have a scoring issue and he's scoring goals and he's not in the lineup, but he's just not going to work. Like, unfortunately, it's just clearly not a guy Knobloch wants in the lineup on most nights, and I think both sides should be talking about moving on if the others aren't already begging him.
Well, I'm sure the conversation's been had, right? Okay, let's keep going. You know who would actually be an interesting one for him in the playoff mix needs scoring? Calgary. No. I don't think he accepts that because, again, I think he wants something that's a bit more of a surefire bet to be in the playoffs, which is why Columbus would obviously make sense. New Jersey would maybe even make sense. I was going to
say, New Jersey, they're getting everyone. Maybe they could get a first for Skinner.
900 defensemen right now?
They do. I think they have 1,000.
So let me throw you this. If you're the Oilers, New Jersey just gave up a second to go get Brian Dumoulin. If you went with your second and Jeff Skinner to get Jonathan Kovacevic, you think they do it?
No. I don't think they're trading out. I think they're trading in.
Hamilton, Pesci.
I know
Dylan,
the list.
Siegenthaler.
I just don't think they're going to do it.
Well, I know you do, but the people.
Oh. Okay.
Dumoulin, Hamilton, Pesci, Dylan, Siegenthaler, Dumoulin, Seamus Casey, Luke Hughes, Simon Nemec, Jonathan Kovacevic. By the middle of March, they will have 9 healthy defensemen.
Something's got to give.
Something's got to give there. And
that must be nice. The Oilers are down to 4 healthy NHL defensemen.
The Oilers are playing
right
Cam Dineen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And most nights we play John Klingberg.
Mm-hmm.
No.
I don't know. I could see the Devils being a dance partner. I think as much as they're doing the right thing right now, being like, we want to add. You also know you're not going on a run. So, like, stockpile picks, get Jeff Skinner, hey, we went from a position of strength and added to a position of weakness. Like, I don't know. I think there's a chance Jeff Skinner's gone by tomorrow afternoon. But
I really do.
Do
mock
we
trades.
have to retain?
No. I think there's enough cap
He's
space
what,
on
three
those
and a
teams.
half?
3.5
Oh, I thought he was just 3.
or 3.5,
Yeah,
whatever one he
whatever it
is. The Devils have Hughes's LTIR space, and the Rangers have a boatload of cap space too. So you could find someone for him. The Blue Jackets have. It's actually pretty funny when you go to the Blue Jackets Puckpedia page. They have, because they've been accruing so much all year, they could add $86 million in deadline cap space.
What?
Because they've been accruing, and they started the year with 20 million or 22 million. So you times it by whatever the number is.
Who would that be, sir? Columbus?
Yeah, they can add $86 million in cap hits. They can add a whole nother roster.
They should get Rannon.
Hey. All right, mock trades, AB. Start flashing them up, and we'll just rip through them here. Alexiak, 50% retained, and Capo Caco for Klingberg, Arvidsson, Aki, a first, Petrov, and a conditional fourth. First off, in doing this exercise, Petrov is the new Benson, Raph Lavoie, go down the list. Everyone just goes like, just throw in Petrov. Oh, dude, they'll do it if you throw in Petrov. I don't know if anyone would like Petrov. I think this is... I don't think Arvidsson would waive to go to Seattle, so there's also that.
It's a no from me.
If you take out Arvidsson and Kako, and it's Klingberg, Aki, a first for Alexiak at 50% retained.
What's Alexiak's contract?
4.6 for one more year.
1 more year. I just don't think the Oilers are going to waive waive a first-round pick and Aki in a deal. I don't think this is going to happen.
All right.
How's Capo's speed?
He's fine.
I don't think they're going to trade him after just acquiring him. I think that part's a bit of a pipe dream.
I think he's too young for them to trade with the way they're kind of going.
Next one. Oh, here we go, Jay. Colton Parayko at 8% retained. That's how you know someone really did their research on this
like
bad
that.
boy. And we got
pencil.
And we got picks that are top 12 protected. Why not? First, third, Aki, Munzenberger. Evander Kane's got a wave to go there, or you're hoping St. Louis wasn't on his list. But it gets you Parayko and a fifth. Always love throwing in the fifth round pick, too. I give Terrence a ton of credit for this one. First, third, Aki, Munzenberger. That actually is probably what it costs to get Colton Parayko. Then you're getting a fifth for Evander Kane, maybe. I don't know.
Are we judging if we think this trade is realistic or if we would accept it?
Well, both. Give me like the 1 to 10 on how realistic it is, and then would you do it? I would do it, and it's about 1 being not realistic, 10 being super realistic. It's a 2.
Probably about a 5 on doing it. I don't know. Like Colin Parayko, the contract, obviously you want to win now, and he could help you win now, so fill a hole. Maybe I'm a 6 then, but I just don't think this is realistic.
I know you're saying yes.
Yeah, like it's...
I like Colin Parayko.
I love
like
Colton Parayko.
the price seems like... I think you got the price right.
Yeah, I think they did. 4 assets.
So, like, if you're going to rate it, you got to give the guys some more props.
2 A-level assets,
Push
2
up the
BC level
retention a
assets.
hair, but I love the 8%.
I'm assuming the 8% gets him to whatever the $1 million mark.
What's 8% of 6.5 mil?
No idea.
Neither do I.
I'm assuming he gets to $6 million.
Yeah. And that's exactly what you would have needed.
We actually know what 3% of added onto a $6 million contract is.
$250,000.
So times that by 2 and
And a
add
half.
2%.
Now we've complicated
Probably about $6.5
I think
million.
it's $500,000
it. Okay.
I would think so.
All right, what's the next one, AB?
or $520,000.
Aki and a first, plus more if needed for Brandon Carlo. Too much for Brandon Carlo. They can have one of those and a smaller asset. But I'm not giving up 2 good trade chips for Carlo. I'll give up 1.
People are going to be upset with that deal if that happened, and then they find out Brandon Carlos is just a third-pair defenseman.
Like, I like Carlo. I'd give up a first for Carlo because I like the term. I like the age. I think if he's playing in a better role, he would succeed. But I'm not.
I'm out.
I'm out.
Boaki?
I don't like trade.
Because,
Okay.
yeah.
I would do Aki straight up for Carlo, but I wouldn't do both. Like, both these are. It's a no for me. I'm out.
I think
I'm out,
if...
dog.
Yeah, I'm out, dog.
All right.
Too.
Next one.
I'm out on all of these.
Arvidsson
No,
and
I know. I'm trying to just be realistic about it. And I just
Arvidsson
don't
and
see it.
Petrov for Raquel. Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Pittsburgh says no.
I don't know. After seeing what Pittsburgh did yesterday, they might do this.
Pittsburgh's very stupid.
What is Pittsburgh doing?
Losing.
He also like this
Two non-playoff teams made a trade?
Yeah. Also, I
for
think
a bunch of guys who have term. I think again, if these two GMs, why didn't you just do this in June? Why are you making Luke Shen and everyone go away from their families for 22 games?
And that has an impact on the Leafs Nation Nashville trip, unfortunately.
Oh, damn.
Because there's a strong Luke Shen connection that was going to be going down. But anyways, I digress. This is
That'll
ONE,
sting.
not TLNE.
Wow.
Leafs
We're all
Nation
one
every day.
family. I would do that trade, and I honestly think Pittsburgh would probably consider it.
I think it's close just
Yeah.
because
I really do, because then you only have 1 year left on Arvidsson.
Yeah.
They get an extra couple of years off Raquel, and also Kyle Dubas makes dumb decisions often.
good point.
Yeah,
Would
I
Arvid
would do that if that's
would Arvidsson
real,
say
I would do
yes?
that.
I would. Too.
Because Jay, you may have missed this. Arvidsson somehow has a no movement clause.
Yeah, that's funny that it was just like a state secret, eh?
Yeah.
And Henrique. Yep. Who else has one? We'll find out
You get
probably
one.
4
You get
months from
one.
now. As
Oh man,
Jeff
they need
Jackson's
to abolish
Oprah.
that from the CBA. They
Oh,
really
they
do.
never
I
would.
wonder if you can make a rule where it's like you can only have so many, you know?
But then it
like-
gets so messy with trades.
But in the oh yeah, that's true. But in the NBA, I think you can only have so many players on like super contracts
Super
or whatever
max,
they're
yeah.
called.
Yeah, I think Arvidsson says no, but the two teams would both say yes. Anyways,
You can
next
play
one.
with Sid. That's fun.
Sure, a couple of Swedes on that team.
Yeah, he's got some buddies.
One less.
Yeah, that's
Ah.
true. Damn it, only one Swede.
Swede for Swede. Next one. Tanev. Oh, I just included this one because it was so funny. This Kraken fan. Tanev for Savoy. Like Brandon Tanev for Matt Savoy.
But the next comment was awesome. He's like, maybe throw in a second as well.
But yeah, the Oilers would definitely want that second round pick. What?
No, I'm
Yeah.
out. Carter Savoy, maybe.
Well,
Yeah.
that's a Kraken fan.
Yep.
Yep.
So obviously looking for a one-sided transaction.
I'd give up a third round pick for Brandon Tanev. That's what I would do. If I was taking his full cap, third round pick.
Yeah.
That's what Tampa Bay did last year with Anthony Duclair, also made $3 million.
Oh, this was one I liked. They replied to the Oilers Nation tweet, not mine. But a 2026 first, 2027 second, Josh Brown, and Vasily Podkolzin for Bowen Byram and Alex Tuck. I'm sure Buffalo is just dying to do that one.
Yeah, they'll be excited about that one in
why
Buffalo.
wouldn't we try to do a Cousins Byram blockbuster?
Why wouldn't we?
Yeah.
Oh, the salary cap.
Yeah, the
is
cap
probably
wouldn't have an
numero
issue.
uno there.
Well,
But I mean, the players would be awesome.
Jeff
I'd be in
Skinner
on the-
reunion.
Yeah, I'm sure. That's the thing. Edmonton and Buffalo are awful
Yeah,
trading
it's-
partners.
It's a tough one.
They don't line up at
pull
all.
off.
But just, would you like those two players? on
I
the team?
would. I would take them both in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
They're fine.
Is
Dylan
Dylan Cousins a left shot?
I don't know. I think so.
I think so. Next to McDavid.
Nelson, Dobson, and Palmieri for Bouchard, Skinner, and a first. And we just go no goalie.
No goalie.
Just 6 skaters, whole playoff run. Never been done before.
It's bold.
Just hemming the other team in the zone the whole game.
Possession is going to be key.
You know, that happened to me once when I used to play ball hockey. Playoff
No
game.
goalie?
We go to play a team, and they're like, our goalie got in a car accident. He can't play. And we're like, all right. So they just played us 6-on-5 the whole game, and we only won 3-2. Because like ball hockey, you have to be like running so much that like we were all just gassed halfway through the game, and the other team had 6 guys just on you the whole time. It was crazy.
People keep asking about Brandt Clark, or maybe it's just the same person.
The Oilers need proven.
And also, too, one thing, people were asking why he's available. Great question. It's because Drew Doughty is back. Seems a bit silly, though. I feel like they should keep Brandt Clark. And I don't think LA has any interest in helping out Edmonton, considering they just continuously knock them out of the playoffs. Why would they want to make them better?
Yeah.
Do you know what Brandt Clark would be good?
Buffalo.
The Carolina Hurricanes.
For Mikko Rantanen.
Unfortunately. I feel like that's what we're lining up for you.
I think they're going to get Rantanen.
Yeah.
If he goes.
Oh, Utah. Utah should get Rantanen.
I just don't see it.
I could see it. They got so many players. He doesn't have a trade clause. I'm obviously assuming. Obviously, because he wouldn't be in Carolina if he did. I think I could see that as a big spot for him to go. Crazy that Mikko Rantanen is 1 on this list and 2 number 1. Do you think Carolina should trade him? I don't see it.
For who?
No, I mean, like, should they? I think they should just keep him and hope for the best. Like, just give yourself the runway. Be like, okay, we'll talk
He's
after the
walking
season.
out the door.
But you also have gone into every playoffs being like, we don't have a Mikko Rantanen.
But he hasn't gelled yet.
He hasn't.
Yeah, I mean, that is a problem, I suppose.
Or Natchez is a point-a-game guy.
Yes, he is.
All right. Okay, I want to rip through a
Power
couple
of
of
the Nate
things.
Dogg.
I want to rip through a couple of things really quick here, Liam. First off, Safeway and the Think You Know Hockey. Safeway My NHL picks. Liam and I are dialed into this right now. I did research before submitting my picks today, by the way. It's your weekly chance to win big prizes like a trip for four to a 2025 NHL season opener of your choice. A new slate of games opens up every Thursday from now until the end of the regular season. Download the Safeway app. Start playing today for your chance to win not just that trip to a season opener of your choice, but 150,000 plus scene points. Liam is a big scene points guy. So we both went 3-2 in our first week on the challenge. Give me have you made your picks yet for week 2?
Right now. Also, I have over 2,000 scene points currently.
I don't have. I got to start winning. That's my problem. I'm taking Colorado tonight to beat San Jose, and then I'm riding another Colorado win on Monday, Washington to pick up a win next Tuesday, Florida and Utah. Those are my picks. Shout out to our friends over at Safeway. It's a really fun game because you have the whole week to pick from. It doesn't have to be like one night.
Yeah, you can spread out for a long time. Your last game was yesterday, you were saying, right?
Yeah. Speaking of picking, you're back in the mix, which means we can resume the Betway Game Day Betting Challenge. We've been doing it. No, I'm kidding.
But I've been sending my picks.
Yeah, we've been doing it. But it's just good to have you back in the mix is all I'm saying.
I'm glad to be back in the mix.
How was your trip? Where did you go? Paris and London?
Paris and London.
Which one was your favorite?
I feel like you're leading me here somewhere. Well, I was literally in Paris for 22 hours, or London for 22 hours. Took the Channel.
What did you think?
Loved it.
It's underwhelming, but also I feel like I know,
Like
but
to
like
be like a glass tunnel, and I see like a whale swimming above us.
it's like when you go to the aquarium, you go through the
No,
shark tunnel.
I love being on a train that's going 300 kilometers an hour and traveling very comfortably.
It would make me
I
sick.
got a little sick.
Oh,
I feel like at first it was like a little shaky, and then it got better.
Get
But
my coffee cup, the guy just dialed. Anytime it like had just
oh really?
a drop left, it was boom, refilled. But it was good. I went to a PSG game.
Oh, not obviously yesterday. Who'd they play?
Oh, that was against Liverpool.
Yeah.
They played Lille. That
Jonathan David plays on. Yes.
So I fired up Bet365 and I built a parlay that included corners.
Oh, really? Nice.
And I hit it. It's like one of my big hits of the new
Very
year.
good. How is the stadium?
Unreal.
It's the one where you drive from the airport. You see it on the way down. Like,
Nope.
No, is it
No.
keep going further?
That's like the National Stadium.
Oh, the Stade de France, I think. Is that where they
Yeah,
play?
it's Stade de
Yeah,
France. No,
okay.
they play at Parc des Princes.
Of course.
And yeah, it was. We got hooked up with Unreal tickets too, so it was all good. But I hit some hilarious like multi-leg bet that was like plus 500, and I bet on Jonathan David to score.
And he did?
but he didn't start. So
And then he scored later.
So then he scored later.
Yeah, that'll happen.
So I was cheering. I had my PSG scarf. There was a Lille fan beside me, so he was pumped. Anyways, amazing.
When I was
We have to. Okay, go.
no, you go.
I was saying we got to do our Betway pick or our Bet365 picks
5 picks
because I have a special guest joining us
oh,
right now.
in like 3 minutes. In 2 minutes. Okay, quickly for our friends at Bet365, download the app today. Use the promo code NATION. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary. At Bet365, quickly our picks for this evening's game. Edmonton taking on Montreal. There's the standings, by the way. It's
Awesome.
yeah. Well,
my record is how Oilers fans feel about the Oilers right now.
Our picks for tonight, I guess I'll go first. Connor McDavid's busting out of the slump. Edmonton's getting a big win. Plus 400. McDavid 3 points. Edmonton on the puck line. Giddy up. Liam.
Hyman goal. Plus 145.
Probably do.
Plus
Yeah.
145.
Probably do on that.
He needs to giddy up and get going. Jay, your pick for tonight? I can't wait to see this.
Yeah, it's a slump buster night.
Wait, you're taking the Oilers to win by 4 goals?
Yeah, they're gonna beat up on the Habs.
I saw it this morning.
At some point, they're gonna wake up and just shit kick a team.
Camden is going to change his team.
I wasn't paying too much attention to the defense lines, but they're gonna shit kick a team. They have to overplay because of the defensive situation. So for them to shit kick a team, Connor, Leon, 2+ points each.
All right.
There's also only 20 games left for Jay, so
Yeah, you gotta
swing. You gotta swing.
I know.
Time
so
is
plus
nigh.
650 isn't enough.
Yeah. All right. There you go.
Your guest is here, and I can see his volume, but I can't see him. I did see him a moment ago.
Oh.
So, Oh.
Is that
Yeah.
Jason Demers music? Bring him in.
That is.
JD, what is going on? This is such a nice surprise. I didn't think we were going to get you this week.
I had Sabrina Carpenter going in the car, and I was going to say,
Which
I
song?
was going to play it. God, I thought I don't know. I don't know any of her shit. She stinks. Anyway, what's up, boys? Trade deadline coming up.
What do you think the Oil do? Who's the defenseman they're going to get?
Oh, man. Right now, I would. Oof, I'm a little worried. I'm going to be honest with you. I think the Evander Kane stuff kind of worries me a bit. I'm a fan of his come playoff time, so I feel like if they're getting rid of him, they need to bring some jam coming back. Obviously, you got Frederick they picked up, but Alexiak wouldn't bother me if they could make the money work. Even Mario Ferraro wouldn't bother me. I think they need to get a little sandpapery on the back end. Rasmus Ristolainen is the only righty that I actually like, other than them going to take a big swing. But I don't love Rasmus Ristolainen. But right now, it's not a huge pool to pick from, so I don't want them to overpay for somebody if it's not worth it. But Mario Ferraro, if you could get it done, I'd say would probably be the best. His last couple games, and I was on the road, the Toronto Maple Leafs game and then the Buffalo game, he was fantastic. And I think he's starting to kind of hit his stride this year and find a good identity for himself. And I think he would fit nice on this team with like a Brett Kulak. I think they'd be very dominant together. So I think it could work.
There was Ryan Richard said today that Evander Kane hasn't skated in back-to-back days. Is that right, Ty? So that's maybe a positive sign for Edmonton. In this hypothetical world, the Oilers trade for Mario Ferraro. Is there another depth forward on San Jose you think they could maybe try and persuade San Jose to throw in a deal as well, and that could be a fit in Edmonton?
Well, I think I'm a huge fan of Luke Cunnin. I think Luke Cunnin is just a dog, and I think they could grab all the dogs they could get on this team. I know Frederick will help with that for sure, and I think he's definitely a guy that helps. Other than Luke Cunnin right now, I don't know. There's not really anybody you can get off of there that I think would impact this team enough other than Luke Cunnin, and I think I could see him going somewhere else, not in Edmonton. I just don't know if it would then work. So honestly, I think it's really just Ferraro would be the guy that I would take from San Jose. But it's interesting. Like unless they're in such a weird and precarious position, Edmonton, because you can't really, I don't know who they can make a huge swing on that they really need in the top six. I don't think they need anybody in the top six. And then the bottom six, it's like I don't know if there's anything out there that wouldn't cost a huge number that would be worth it. So it's like, I love Nico Sturm. I thought Nico Sturm could have helped Edmonton. He just got traded. He's gone to the Panthers. I think that's a sneaky big pickup for teams because I think he's really good in the face-off circle and then also on the penalty kill. But yeah, I think really for them to focus on D and it's the two needs they need to address is goaltending and D, and they seem to just go get forward. So uh, it's an interesting tactic. It's a bold strategy, Cotton, as they say. But
What's your
I would.
Miko?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, what's your Miko Rantanen prediction here for the next call it 22 hours now or 23 hours till the deadline? Where do you think Miko ends up?
Well, I had Vegas on my list. They went and got Riley Smith, so I don't know if they'll go get anybody else. Toronto Maple Leafs, I just saw Elliot Friedman report that they kind of stepped in, and that would be enormous because Toronto's another one that worries me because I like that Austin Matthews came out and was like, I hope they go get somebody. Like kind of through through like a little mini smile, like gritted teeth. He's like, I hope they pick somebody up because it'll be a travesty if they don't for Toronto. So I think they're in on a few different deals, and I think if Randon's available and they can make it work, I think they will. And I mean that would be huge for Toronto. Other than Toronto, I think it's like Dallas, Toronto, Florida is the three that seem to be that I'm hearing are all in on Miko. Uh, So I think any of those teams get him. I'd rather him go to the East than the West,
Yes.
personally, for Edmonton's sake. Because if he goes to a Dallas, I mean, it's gonna be scary. That Dallas Stars team with Mikko Rantanen on there, and I think he hasn't played great in Carolina, but I just don't think Carolina fits his the way he likes to play at all. And I just think a Toronto would be like, they're a little bit run and gun. They do play defensive with Berube, but he gives those guys freedom to make plays. So I think it would open them up. And same thing with Dallas. They play a fast game.
I guess just one more on the state of the Oilers, too. It's not good right now, Jason. This team looks pretty lifeless. We obviously live and die with every result that comes through, but how concerned do you think the fan base should be right now with what we're seeing from the Oil the last, call it, month?
I would never be overly concerned because you got McJesus and Leon, and it's like, those guys at the very end of the day are gonna will you to at least the conference finals. So, but I just think it's what the brain trust does in the next coming days is going to really decide if they get past the conference finals and go to the finals and contend for a Stanley Cup. I don't know if right now fully what they have can get them there. Um, it's not a knock on any of the players, but I just think that there's a lot of really good teams and some high powered teams, and they're loading up. And I think you don't want to overswing and ruin the chemistry of the team, but I think the best case scenario for them is that they're going into the deadline on a bit of a skid. So if I'm Stan Bowman, I'm like, I need to make a move because we need to right the ship now and kind of get guys going again. And yeah, I think I think they will make a splash. I hope they do. Obviously, the Evander Kane. I think Evander wants to go to a contender, so that kind of limits your options. And he doesn't just want to go get buried somewhere or on a rebuilding team. So if they trade him, he wants to go somewhere good. But again, it's like he's also a guy that I think come playoff time, and if he gets healthy, I mean, he's a guy that was super impactful last playoffs, and you need to have somebody come back that can be kind of a breakout player like he is. So they can't just kind of give him away for nothing and then not address any issues. So I'm hoping they go get a D-man. I think that's first and foremost what they need, big time. Somebody that can play PK minutes, somebody that can, move the puck. It's slim pickings out there, but there are a few guys that I think would impact this team. And then just either they gotta then within internally in the room just kind of fix the vibes in here. It's the vibes are low, and it seems like the vibes are low, and I don't know what's going on internally, and I don't have a looking glass into that room, and I don't know if there's guys who are at odds at all or just a little frustrated, but I think they need to fix it quick because they have a team and they have enough skill that they can do some damage. And if Stan Bowman goes and picks something up for them, I mean, they need to get excited and get excited quick.
Well, yeah, they need to, again, we talked last time you were on about peaking at the right time and flipping the switch. Like, the time is kind of now. Would you buy anything? And we had Tyler Ennis on earlier in the show. I asked him this question too, but do you buy anything that the goaltending being as poor as it is deflating to the rest of the team? Like, do you think that could be, cause it? Corey Perry came out the other day and said, like, every mistake we make ends up in the back of our net right now.
Yeah, and I don't know if I think he's just might be saying like luck wise that's what's happening. I don't think Corey would ever take a shot at the goaltending, but it's for sure it's there. You've seen when these guys play well, and the problem in markets like this is that when there's like a little bit of a buzz of goaltending's wrong, I mean, these goalies hear it, and then it gets louder and louder every loss. So it's like it gets tough because the pressure just builds and mounts, and guys might buy into it a little bit more as they shouldn't. But I don't think anybody's against this goaltending group. I know both these guys are awesome guys, and you root for both of them. These guys aren't dicks or by any means or have an ego to them. They want to be as good as everybody expects them to be. So I think guys are just talking about the overall state of the team and just how frustrating it is, where they just seem like when they play well, nothing goes in, and when they play bad, it's bad. So, but I also think they haven't played their best hockey. Like, I just think they've been a little bit lazy defensively, and as a unit of five, I said it. I watched the game after we talked the last time, and it's just defensively as a unit of five, they're a little bit lazy, and I think I think them going to the finals last year, they might be, and I think they need to fix this kind of thought process. They just kind of want to get to the playoffs, and let's just from there we'll turn the switch. But you need to kind of start building now. And I think it's important that in that room, they start really focusing on building now and not being frustrated that, it's not the playoffs yet. We got to grind through the last couple months. I think they need to start really amping up. And again, I am a fan of adversity at this time of year. Like I look at the Winnipeg Jets, I'm more scared about the Winnipeg Jets than the Edmonton Oilers because the Jets haven't had any adversity this year. It's just been a ho-hum record season. They might not add anything. They might just add a little bit here and there because they think that, oh, we're fine, we're doing great, and then they're going to lose in the first round. Versus an Edmonton that's kind of went through some ups and downs and can understand the struggles. So, I think it's all good stuff to go through this. It's just making sure that you're taking these little kind of failures and negatives and learning from it. So, and I think, there's enough veterano-ness, and that is a word I'm coining, veterano-ness, in that locker room to kind of harness all of these bad vibes and turn into something good.
JD, appreciate your time, man. Thanks for popping on kind of short notice here. I really appreciate you popping and making this work.
You know what? I always got time for you. I got to go make some, I got to deposit some money in the bank here. So we'll get out of here.
Duffel bag of cash. All right. Okay, see you, JD. Jason Demers, always great stuff.
He was talking as if we're trading Kane.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. Is that still I know there was talk of it.
Nah, I think we're shogs.
Is that kind of ousted it?
Yeah.
Because it would be dumb.
This also, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I think it'd be dumb too. Go ahead.
Parayko out for the year.
Yeah.
Well, prices went down.
LTIR.
Luke Cunnin
New guy.
also played in the St. Louis area. And Trent Frederick has mentioned him in every interview I've heard of him. Being
Bash Brothers.
We love to play with him.
And Max
he's actually a good player too. He has 11 goals this season.
Max Jones is best friends with Evan Bouchard.
Are we gonna vibe check here? Because I feel like we're getting good vibes now. Things are going well.
I feel like the vibes are improved.
I think so
in the
too.
last 30 seconds.
What has Cam Denny done to this team? It's amazing.
We got a super chat
Kevin's
that's €5.
That's
Oh,
£5.
nice.
Oh,
How dare you? How dare you?
I'll read it.
How dare you?
okay.
lay the accent on thick, though, Liam. Speak the Kings.
I cannot do a Liverpool accent, that is for sure. It says, new Oilers fan from Liverpool, UK. Liverpool fan here. Watched videos this week of the Oilers. I love the fan base. New love for the city of Edmonton.
I love that.
From Charlie.
Charlie.
All right, Charlie. Well, let's get Charlie fired up. It's a Sherwood Ford Giant game day. Do we have some fast facts and game notes from our friends at Sherwood Ford the Giant?
You're sure we do.
Since December 5th, Leon Draisaitl has been held without a point in just 2 out of 36 games. My boy's on fire.
Speaking of Draisaitl, did you know that he's 1 goal away from passing Mark Messier for 4th in Oilers' all-time goals? That is sweet.
Skinner! Jeff Skinner has 11 goals and 18 points in the last 10 games against the Montreal Canadiens and could draw back up into the lineup.
Or not.
Or not.
Hey, they recorded them earlier in the day.
Or Max Jones is playing.
There's a case for him to play. That's the case.
I'd say a really, really good one, honestly.
Yep.
Who's starting? Skinner.
Stu.
Not given.
That is a given start.
That is
They're both. It's
definitely given.
It's a funk. It's a funk.
Yeah. I think they'll be fine. I'm a little bit.
Connor McDavid looked good last game.
Groundhog Day hearing you two still subscribe to this.
Yeah, you went halfway across the world, came back, and we're still down in the dumps.
Well, you guys have not been critical of goaltending.
Actually, we have been. Recently.
Very
I've
recently,
flipped the
but
switch.
it's been right.
Since you've been gone.
I'm
Okay.
The breaking point has been hit.
I'm fine to admit we were wrong, but I also think it was okay to be optimistic about what the goaltending could do because last season they were good and they showed that as the season progressed they got better. That has just not happened this season.
But this is now telling you it's probably more of a function of the defense in front of them than the goalie.
Yeah, and Greg had put out a thing today too because someone said that, and I think earlier in the year this was more the team defense was good and the goalies weren't making saves, but now it seemed to have flipped to a bit of the team defense is falling apart and the goalie isn't able to bail them out. So the goalies have kind of just stayed the same, but the defense has got way worse. But the Oilers were winning games when that was happening too.
All right. Let's wrap this up with our official deadline predictions. Who do you think? Who's an Oiler? Liam, we're not gonna be on at our normal time tomorrow. I'm doing the Daily Face-Off 5-hour deadline special that starts at 9 a.m. It goes all the way until 2, and then you can look for us to be going live here on the YouTube only at right around 2:15-ish. Quick little reset, then we're going live. But Liam, who are we gonna be talking about when we go live tomorrow?
You got a busy day.
Oh, tomorrow on the Oilers. I like his Mario Ferraro. There seems to be quite
like
a
the
lot
package.
Luke Cunningham
I'm now all in
Ferraro.
the package.
Let's
JD
get
we
another
trust.
St. Louis boy in.
First round pick for Cunningham and Ferraro.
Sure.
See it signed and
Why
sealed.
not? Got a couple.
That does it.
The problem is San Jose can't retain anything.
But if Kane's out,
Kane's out.
Oh yeah, then you're fine.
Breaking news.
their combined cap hits are
325 on. They're about 6 million.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
so
can afford
math.
that.
Yeah, you
They
can
just have to take
send
Klingberg back,
Oh.
and then it's a done deal.
I'll drive him.
All the way to San Jose.
Honestly, it'd be worth it. We have to go in my car though, and, and it has a check engine light on.
I'll say it's Alexiak. You're going to say the duo from San Jose, and you're agreeing
Yeah,
with them?
Sure.
I mean, that's what I want.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
That's what I
seems
want.
like the cheapest option.
All right.
But it's got the. We're adding doggedness. We need more dogs.
We do need
If
a
we go into
couple
the
of
playoff battle.
puppies up here.
We need that dog.
Puppies.
Yeah, let them develop into dogs.
That's a wrap on today's edition of the show. Wanted to end everybody off with a little interview to wrap things up, too. We've been promoting it throughout the week. But Monday, down at Rogers Place, inside Ford Hall, is going to be the Canadian premiere of Uke, the untold story of hockey legends, happening, again, Monday, March 10th. The movie looks great, and I had a chance to catch up with not just the director of the movie, Vladimir Mula, but also Jason Golanowski, who is a part of the Ukrainian Association here. So let's wrap up the show with that interview. Enjoy Deadline Day. Let's go. Oil up. All right, wrapping up today's edition of Oilers Nation Every Day with a little interview. And you've heard us talking a little bit throughout the week about Uke, the untold story of hockey legends. The premiere is coming next Monday down at Ford Hall inside of Rogers Place. And the movie follows a bunch of really good stories. Wayne Gretzky, Johnny Busick, Ken Daneyko, Ruslan Fedotenko. And I'm very excited today to be joined by the film's director, Vladimir Mula, and Jason Golanowski from the Canadian Premier Committee. Gents, really appreciate you giving us some time. And for me, as a hockey fan, Ukrainian heritage from Western Canada, when I saw this come across, it's like, yes, absolutely, I want to talk to these guys a little bit more about the film. So Vladimir, let me just maybe start with you. Give me the overview of how this story came together, and I guess why you wanted to tell this story in this way.
Thank you for having me. It's very important to be here with you guys. My story started in 2017. I just finished my previous 2 documentaries about Ukrainians in the USA, and then I started to think what actually I wanna do, because my idea was to create a documentary about Ukrainians, but not only for the Ukrainian audience. I want to create a documentary for the international. That's why I started to think what actually I could do, and I with my team we actually together did our own investigation, and we have found more than 50 Ukrainians became Stanley Cup. It's a huge, and after that we started to continue our work with this. That's why I think it's a very, very important story, not only for the Ukrainians but for the Ukrainian Canadians in North America.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting, again, to kind of look at that list of players. And I mean, being from Western Canada, it's no secret. It's shared how prominent the Ukrainian population is here. Was there one of those players' stories that kind of really resonated with you more than the others? Someone who, really kind of had a unique history coming into this that they were able to share?
Yeah, for sure, I would like to mark that a lot of Ukrainians played in the NHL, but in the movie we actually speaking about Stanley Cup champions. The story that touched me most, it's a maybe story about Teresa because he was a really incredible man at that time, and the story of Walter Gretzky, the father of Wayne, right? Because everyone knows who was Walter for the Canadian people, right? He was an incredible man. He was like a father of hockey in Canada, and it was so important for me to meet with Walter, to get in touch with him, to got the information, and of course to confirm his Ukrainian roots.
Jason, I want to maybe ask you a couple of questions as well. The film's going to premiere on Monday. Have you had a chance to watch through it yet, or are you going to be going into it for the first time Monday?
No, I'm going in cold on Monday. I've seen the trailer, and I mean, it looks very interesting. I mean, I'm a kind of a Oilers 80s kind of disciple, you know, the Gretzky era and that team. So I think it's going to be fascinating. So I'm very interested in looking forward to it. So
tell me a little bit more about the premiere here. What can people expect? Maybe just quickly tell me too, like where can people get tickets and what the night's kind of going to be about.
Yeah, so the premiere is on Monday, March 10th in Edmonton at Ford Hall in Rogers Place. It's going to be up on the big screen there for folks who have been into the facility before. Not in the arena, but in the foyer there. So it'll be a lovely event. Your ticket includes a light Ukrainian supper, some pierogi, some kubasa, you know, to make everything nice and festive. Of course, Kelly Hrudey, who is also in the movie, will be hosting the evening as well. So, and him and Vladimir here will be having a little bit of a Q&A after the film. So, you know, you see the film for about an hour and a half, and then there's some time for Q's and A's with Vladimir and Kelly on that as well. So you can find tickets at www.ukrfolk.ca. And just a plug is the Ukrainian Folklore Center at the University of Alberta is the kind of premier sponsor of this, who has connected with Vladimir and has invited him to bring the film and himself to Edmonton to showcase the Canadian premiere here.
Can you tell me a little bit more about what the Cool Folklore Center does at the U of A?
Yeah, so the Cool Folklore Center is largely a research institute on Ukrainian and Canadian topics. So also part of the center is a place called the Bogdan Medvitsky Ukrainian Folklore Archives. So for people who don't know what folklore is, it's kind of like history, but it's more like history of the average person. So there's a lot of work that went on and still goes on the Ukrainian community here in Alberta and Western Canada. So, for instance, one of the recent exhibitions that we did was about a family, a man and a woman who lived in the Crow's Nest Pass, who were Ukrainian and had a photography business. And so we did a whole series, an exhibition on their photography business in the 20s and 30s. There. So this is the kind of information that the Cool Folklore Center collects, cultural information about the Ukrainian Canadian experience in Canada, and also how that intersects with what's going on in Ukraine. So it's more of an academic research center, but with a very strong community focus. And I'm sure people who are active in the Ukrainian community in Alberta have seen a lot of the work that the center does.
Vladimir, back to the film. The description mentions some rare footage. I watched through the trailer, and you definitely see some of that. But what were some of the maybe hurdles, and what were the processes like getting your hands on some of this really old footage?
You know, I spent approximately 3 years to make this documentary, and what was the hard, maybe to get approval from the NHL. Because I never worked with a big structure like NHL. For me, it was very important to get this permission to use all trademarks, all NHL marks in my documentary, to get actually rare footage to include, to clear the rights, not only for the Ukrainian market but for international. It was tough. It was tough to understand how works another markets, because it was at that time my third documentary. My previous documentary I made only for the Ukrainian audience. That's why I did a wonderful job to get all this stuff inside my documentary, but right now I am sure that everything is fine. I am ready to show my documentary. It's a good time to show my documentary right now in Canada, especially in such a difficult time in Ukraine, right? So I'm very happy that I have good chance to screen, to show my documentary here, because in Ukraine my documentary, the premiere of my documentary was in the end of 2020, but after that it was a COVID time, then the war in Ukraine, so it was impossible to make a big event, because the high level of my documentary is really goes to be organized in a big screen on a big event like this. And I am very happy, I'm very excited that I have this opportunity here in Edmonton.
After the film premieres, and I don't know if this is a question for you, Jason, or you, Volodymyr, but is there a way, or could you direct people, how can they see the documentary after it premieres? Is there anywhere to go?
Yeah, it will be like my big announcement after the premiere. I am working on two big platforms to submit my documentary there. Everything almost done. So I think after the premiere, I will share all the information where this documentary could be watched in North America.
Perfect. And when you do that, we'll send it off to everybody watching the show. We're also going to put the link to buy tickets in the description of today's episode. So if you want to go, again, Monday, March 10th, it is the premiere of Uke, the untold story of hockey legends, and it's happening at Ford Hall inside Rogers Place. Volodymyr Mula is the director, Jason Golanowski, Canadian Premier Committee. Both you guys, thank you so much for popping on with me, and best of luck on Monday night. Hope everything goes well. I'm sure it will. It looks like an unbelievable doc. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Have a good day.